Basically, I've helped developers and marketers start freelancing and then build a business. Specifically, I've helped them for 10 years now. And yeah, we have hundreds of success stories, over 700 at this point, of people starting to freelance after their jobs, quitting their jobs. Some of them became digital nomads. And then most of the people I've worked with have become business owners as well. And the best startup idea for someone who's a freelancer in marketing or development space is usually to build an agency. It's the lowest entry barrier and quickest way to get to a profitable business that I know of, at least. In general, we say get to a business as soon as possible. Agency is just a stepping stone. It really depends on the person, their experience, and their background. So if they're a marketer, generally they want to start the agency process much sooner than a developer. So for a marketer, you want to hire people to run ads, for example, for clients as soon as you can afford to, as soon as you get like a client, basically. For developers, generally we tell them to do the first projects themselves. So essentially freelance maybe the first 4 clients and then start hiring. The reason for that is because marketers usually have more communication skills, so they're more likely to know how to talk to clients. It's usually part of marketing jobs, whereas developers are very rarely have communication skills. Now, if you're in the middle somewhere, if you're like a project manager, we would tell you, in tech, of course, we would tell you hire developers immediately because you wouldn't be able to code yourself, right? You wouldn't be able to deliver a project by yourself. The idea, medium and long term, is not to sell hours or your hours at all because it's a low leverage activity. Like if you sell hours, the most you can sell is maybe like 80 hours a week of your own time. And even if you charge hundreds of dollars, it's kind of not worth it because you're gonna get burnt out doing too many projects and stacking clients. And in between clients, you'll have to look for new clients. It's just not a very good way to basically be in business long term. It burns people out. Being a freelancer for too long, it's not healthy and it's not scalable and it's less profitable. So the general idea is get to the business stage ASAP because that's where all the interesting stuff happens. That's where all the scalability happens. In a business, scalability, it can be affected by every part of the business, right? You can affect scalability by having better product market fit. You can affect scalability by better lead generation. You can affect scalability by a better sales process, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of stuff to work on. And any improvement in any of these will scale your business. Whereas with freelancing, you will always hit a wall where you're selling the maximum amount of hours that you have and increasing prices. You cannot just keep increasing prices forever in most situations. So almost everyone watching this, you cannot just keep increasing prices to scale. For example, once you hit a couple of $100, even as a developer, the most high-end developer, usually you're going to hit a wall pretty quickly where someone won't pay you, let's say, $300 an hour anymore, right? Whereas in a business, you can have 30 people and you sell their time at $30 an hour. You pay them $15 an hour. That's huge. You're not selling your time. You're selling other people's time, and then you take the profit on that, for example. It's a very quick, easy example. Yeah, once you have things up and running, you have a team or multiple teams working on projects within your business, and these projects are done for clients. So let's use a development agency as an example. They have specific briefings that they're working on at different stages of projects. For example, some people are working on the first stage of a development project, some people are almost finished, and there's communication going on with clients and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, the reason I'm just kind of broadly describing it is because you're not supposed to be in most of these processes yourself. You as the agency owner, you're supposed to be working on things that are going to cause your business to grow, basically. Doing project management or coding or doing any of the delivery stuff that I talked about, all that stuff isn't as valuable once you own a business. What is valuable when you own a business is to build new partnerships, create new lead generation funnels, and improve the sales process in your business and other activities like that. And also hire and manage, I don't like the word manage, but hire and manage people that are gonna take work off your table so you can focus on more high leverage activities. So day to day, you're basically talking to your team, helping them create better processes, figuring out who's doing a good job, finding more people who can do a better job, and then finding more interesting, creative ways to scale your business, right? This is very different from freelancing. In a freelancing environment, you would be mostly working for a client, building their business. Whereas in an agency environment, you have clients, they get work done, right? They get delivered work from your team, and you're the one building your business, not their business. So that's the massive difference day to day between, let's say, a freelancer or an employee and a business owner. You can still code as a business owner if you love coding. You can still do that occasionally. I wouldn't do this 8 hours a day. You can limit it to a couple of hours a day or limit it to weekends to stay sharp. But mostly as a business owner, you're supposed to work more on the architecture of the business and maybe help with how a project will look like at a very high level. But you're not supposed to sit there and code all day anymore. In terms of mental shifts, it's more how do you find people and empower those people so that they can do a better job than you would be able to do. Because ultimately, no matter how good of a coder you are, you're going to be able to find people that are smarter than you, faster than you, and better than you. In fact, if you run a very good agency, you can find people who do like a single person could do the work of 20 average developers, right? And when you work with people like that are better technically than you, it can be fun to sit there and code, but at the same time, it's not really valuable for the world or for you or for the clients anymore. You're gonna start realizing that and focusing less on the coding stuff and more on the people stuff and your business. So the mindset shift is mostly, I'm not the most important person here, especially for delivery. For me, for example, I look at myself as more the janitor in the business. Like I clean up things, make it look nice so people can get stuff done, which is very different compared to what people think business owners usually do, right? People think business owners are like flying around on private jets and like telling people this is how it works. But in reality, I'm just giving tools to people and giving them the ability to solve very complicated, interesting problems all the time. Most stuff that's going on in my business, at least, I have no clue about. Like I just know high-level stuff that I talk to some of the people about. I know the stuff that people are working on who need my attention, and I don't know the other 80% of the stuff that's going on in my business. It's actually not super special business skills. It's not this like weird thing you learn in business school. I went to 2 business schools. I didn't learn any of that in business school. I learned more from people that are good parents and grandparents. So the thing that a business owner looks for, or should look for at least, is they're looking for team members that have good upbringing, they have a solid understanding of what they deserve and what it takes to do something that's difficult, how long it takes to do something that's difficult, how to learn, how to achieve goals that require multiple people to work on the goals, how to organize in the real world, not just in like project management tools, but in the real world. How do you actually get people to do stuff, get yourself to do stuff on time and on schedule? Like those types of requirements and skills, it's very difficult to learn them in school, and it's very difficult to quantify them in some situations. So what we tend to do in business is we tend to look for good people that have good upbringing, as I said before, and that have good habits. They have proven that they can maintain long-term relationships in their lives in general. So they're good to be around, because if they're not good to be around and they can't learn things quickly, then it doesn't matter how good technically they are. So it's much better if you have a bunch of people around you that can get work done without pissing off every single other person in the community and the team. It's better to have people who understand long-term goals, who have done things like difficult sports, learning musical instruments. Yeah, so those competitive types of skill sets and activities, they tend to be a better representation of what it's like running a business compared to stuff you learn in business school and almost any other type of school, to be honest. So when we're looking for people and when we're building teams, we're looking for interpersonal skills and just good attitude. And that stuff is way more important, and a history of good attitude as well. It's way more important than the hard skill in almost every situation. Let's say you're a marketer or a developer and you've built an agency, right? So you're at the level where you're already in business, you have a team, you have clients paying you, you're making between $80,000 and $150,000 a month in revenue with a 50+% profit margin. So at that point, you're not like scraping by, you're not fighting for survival every day. You're more in the stage of who do I want to do business with? And what industry do I really like out of all the things that I've worked on in the last few years? years. And then you kind of use the agency as a talent hunting agency. So instead of getting clients, you're finding businesses as if you're an investor to put your time into, and then you're vetting the business owners to see who you want to do business with long term. It's not just about the cash, right? They're going to pay you for a service, but you're not just finding them for them to pay you for a service. You're finding them to build business partnerships. And when you're at that level, that's kind of what they call investor level, right? When you're at that level, you can start building partnerships, business partnerships with your clients, where you build joint ventures and tools and products that are more scalable. So you'll notice some of your clients that have better business models, they launch better software, they scale it better, they have better teams, they're very good at implementing, right? And when you find people like this and you've known them for a year, you'll start finding new business partners for new business ventures. And when you're at that stage, you're gonna have the money to contribute, you're gonna have the team to contribute and the skills to contribute, be it technical or marketing, and you're gonna be able to actually be a valid 50-50 partner with your best clients that are ahead of you in terms of business. Yeah, so once you're able to find those types of people who are interested in this, you're going to be able to upgrade your business model to the best that you've seen in your clients. And the best that you've seen in your clients can be determined by long-term success, much higher scalability, so more money for longer periods of time that can be made with a business model. And you're going to be able to just do more interesting things with more interesting problem solving. So that's the idea after the agency. So it doesn't mean you quit the agency, it just means you use the agency to hunt business models and clients to get into after the agency, because you'll be closer to the level. Whereas if you try to do that as a freelancer, they'll just hire you or something, right? But if you're a business owner approaching a business owner, you're going to start building relationships where you get equity, you share equity, you do joint ventures and so on, which is a million times more interesting than just selling projects. So some of the people that I work with, they continued running their agency. Some have sold their agency. And what they did was they started going back to their client list and they started contacting their best clients and saying, hey, what are you guys working on? Cool. So I see you don't have your marketing figured out. So they started building partnerships. There's a lot of SaaS companies, for example. There's one SaaS company that essentially has a type of CRM. And one of my clients or students, basically, they went to them and said, hey, let me just take care of this marketing. Just pay me, like mid-5 figures. I'll do this for you. If I do it in a way where it builds your business, scales your business to the next level, maybe we can talk about equity and invested equity. And the client says, you want equity if you can grow our business way past our expectations? Sure. Tell us what to do. Here's some money as well. It's not just an equity deal. So what happened was that guy took that part of the business and grew it times 5, times 10. And they said, oh shit, this guy actually, we've worked with him before. We've known him for a year. He's grown our business by a huge amount. Okay, cool. What if he was here every day? And what if he was part of our business? So they gave him double-digit equity in their business if he achieved certain goals. So then when he achieved those goals, he got a percentage in the entire business. And what happened then is they introduced him to a bunch of friends of theirs who also run tech companies. And he did the same thing for them. So now he owns equity in this SaaS company, equity in a bunch of other SaaS companies, and he's getting paid by them at the same time. You see? So it's like a consulting equity type of deal that he's made with them. So there's a bunch of examples like this. There's also examples of people simply using their tech skills in existing companies. So they go to a business owner who's about to retire and they tell him, let me run your business because you're about to retire. You still get your money. You still get your salary. So you're going to keep getting it forever, basically. But in exchange, I own your business now. I'm going to retain your employees. So I'm not going to fire the team you've built. And I'm going to create tools to automate almost all your business. And then I'm going to merge your business with other similar businesses. And I'm going to install the tools and all the businesses that we buy together in the future. So he did that. And the top guy who did this in BMI, in the program that I run, he ended up combining a few of these businesses, installing his tool that he built with his technical expertise in these companies, very old school boomer companies, by the way. And he ended up selling the combined companies for $120 million. Now, this guy just started with a small agency, and 6 years later, he sold that kind of big boomer style business with a high tech component for $120 million. So he went from 0 to $120 million in 6 years. So I have stories like that, and I have a bunch of other stories of people just building tools for fun while they're running their agency that ended up scaling, and then they ended up just running the SaaS company as their main company. A freelancer is likely to make between 5K and 20K. If a freelancer makes more than 20K per month, that's exceptional. Almost no one's going to be able to do that. So that seems to be like the ceiling is like 20K per month. For a business owner, you can, we have people who've scaled it past 500,000 per month, okay, in terms of revenue. The profit margin on that is like going to be like 15-20% for an agency that size. I don't recommend scaling an agency to 500K per month. I recommend up to 150K per month with a 50% profit margin. So the smaller the agency, the higher profit margin is, because it's generally not worth trying to scale that type of business model past 150K, although it is possible. So, and then in terms of SaaS and building products, there is no limit. Like, that's why we encourage people who can build a very successful agency to go into software as well. It's not about businesses who can pay a high price. It's just almost every job in the world is becoming obsolete. On a year-by-year basis, you can just see almost every job is becoming obsolete, and we're moving towards difficult jobs as well now. For example, administration, a lot of administration tasks, if you build a business properly, you don't need administration staff anymore for most tasks. So that's low-level stuff. But we're getting to a point now where you'll be able to have tools, AI do almost anything. So it's kind of silly trying to work on the old way of doing things if everything in the future is pointing towards automation and replacing humans with tools. Now it sounds like bad, like, oh no, people are going to lose their jobs. But if you're building a business, and anyone can start and build a business, there's no like limit to this. You don't have to have a huge amount of money. There's no like barrier of entry here. Like, these AI tools are available to everyone. You can research how to use things for free on the internet. You can get degrees for free on the internet. So anyone can build a business essentially, right? And it's inevitable that automation is going to replace most types of jobs. So either you start learning this type of stuff, or you're going to have to learn new difficult skills that businesses will not be able to replace anytime soon, I guess. So that's kind of where we're heading with that. And the reason I'm doing this is not because of any of that. The reason I'm doing this is just because it's interesting. It's just fun and interesting figuring out new ways to automate stuff and build companies using automation and tools. And it's more scalable. You can affect more people's lives positively. You can remove boring, repetitive jobs from people's lives. So it's great. So I love this stuff. That's why I do this. And I think a lot of people are going to do a lot of stuff in the future that they actually like doing, not that they have to do. Anything you can find that requires humans can be automated to some extent, and in the future completely, potentially. If you notice in an industry, there's a huge amount of staff doing, customer support. There's a bunch of stuff being done with customer support automation right now. Anything related to sending emails to each other and doing meetings, like that stuff is being phased out in a lot of companies by just tools that communicate with each other. Anything where data has to be transferred, data entry, anything with videos, almost, we're starting to see avatars being created, so you don't need like camera equipment. Like, this is still being recorded on camera, of course, but soon we won't have to do this anymore because we'll have perfect avatars built by AI that replace us, right? So you won't have to like record yourself anymore. Anything with exact stuff like accounting, legal stuff, low-level legal stuff, high-level legal stuff is still very complicated. No AI can do that yet, but maybe in the future. Basically almost anything, dude. Like, the list is, I cannot find the end to this list. Like, they expect industry experts, even for things like video game development. We like video games. A lot of people watching this video probably like video games. So even stuff like video game development, a lot of experts in that field are saying in 5 years, you're going to be able to tell an AI what type of video game you want, and it'll just build it for you. So you'll have like an engine, like an Unreal Engine, for example, and you'll tell Unreal Engine, I want this type of game with this type of story and these type of mechanics, and it just does it, right? So if you think about that, if they'll be able to build a video game with prompts telling an AI what they want, what else in society, what else out there in the world will be automated? And the answer is almost anything. So what I would encourage people to do is find out how industries work by being inside them, by running a business inside those industries or offering services inside those industries, and then help them automate stuff. And it's almost inevitable that if you build a good tool with good product market fit that has been tested, right? So you test it in the market and then you build it, not the other way around. It's almost inevitable that people want to at least try it. And if you do a bunch of those tests, if you have the bandwidth, the skills, the money, the team to do those types of tests and then build those tools, it is inevitable almost that you can create a software business. Now, the difficult part is going to be people are going to be able to copy your business very quickly, especially now with AI tools. It's getting easier and easier to copy funnels, copy tools, etc. But that's how business works, like build it, be there first, or end up working for someone who did it. Yeah, there are people making mid six figures in profit per month that just go into businesses and say, let's just automate everything. Just let me go around your business and automate everything for you. And then you're going to need like one engineer who knows how the system works to maintain it. And that's it. So they do this with e-com businesses. They do this with traditional like boomer stuff, like offline businesses as well. A lot of stuff can be automated these days, and people are making a lot of money now. But basically more and more people will develop the skills to do that in the future. And it's a really good way to offer a service right now, let's say. What people like that sell is the solution. They don't have like a special name for themselves where they call themselves an engineer anymore. They just tell the client how much money the client is going to be able to save. They tell the client which systems, which processes can be automated. They talk about the client. It's a B2B sale. If you want to make a lot of money, you need to talk about the client and not your job role or title or anything like that. That stuff is like super old school. The way to get started is very basic stuff. When you're starting off, you just need a basic set of skills that you focus on. At the end of a few months, the following processes need to kind of be clear to you, okay? So product market fit, lead generation, sales, delivery, automation, project management, and hiring. So if you have good enough skills within those areas in business, that's good enough to run an agency, right? In the beginning, you just start with lead gen, essentially, right? Because in BMI, we handle product market fit. It's too complicated for beginners, so we just give them product market fit. So with lead gen, what we usually do is freelancing websites, for example. Like if you want to know the technicalities, we go on freelancing websites and we do very specific types of lead generation on freelancing websites. Not where we work as a freelancer on the freelancing websites, but more like we use the freelancing websites as a lead source, same as you would use ads as a lead source. The benefit of that is it's a lot more accessible and easier and cheaper to do lead generation on freelancing websites compared to anything else that I've ever tried, at least, or anyone that I know has ever tried. So we use freelancing websites, we do lead gen on there, and then we do a sales call, and then we sell our existing offer on the sales call, and then we go from there. That's like the first few weeks of how to do it, basically. So you need to learn the foundational stuff, very, very foundational stuff in a playground environment. Like a freelancing website is like a playground compared to, let's say, cold calling a business would be infinitely more difficult. So we use a playground like a freelancing website to get you to the first $25,000 and above per month, okay? That's what the freelancing websites are for. There's a few models you can follow. You can just bootstrap it. A very good model that I've recently stumbled upon is you join a merger and acquisition business, which is essentially a business that combines businesses to increase the value of the parent company. Usually they end up on the stock market as well. So you can join a company like this, which is almost like a combination of a bunch of related companies into a single entity, yeah? And you make a deal with the owner, of course, of the whole company. So you make a deal that you're going to go into one of these companies and you're going to grow that company. And once you grow that company, you create tools that can be applied to the whole industry of that holding company, of the big company. So you use the small company as a testing space for a tool that can be scaled to the entire merger and acquisition company. And then it can be scaled outside of the merger and acquisition company into the whole industry, you see? So you kind of use an M&A company as a launch platform for tools or services. Most people start with services and then they start talking about tools. And if you talk to the owners of the M&A companies, and these are companies that are worth billions of dollars, right? So if you talk to the owners, they are also thinking at that level. So that's what I found out recently. Because I was brainstorming this idea with a friend of mine who's in an M&A company, and he's like, oh yeah, they're already doing that. I'm like, oh shit, it's okay. So I didn't invent something new, but it's an idea that I stumbled upon that already exists. Like if you're very good at building tools and you understand how to navigate a business and clients, there's no reason why you can't go into an M&A company company, solve a bunch of their problems technically or with lead generation, marketing, etc., and then scale that within the company and then scale that beyond and then get vested equity in exchange. So if you achieve those goals, which are difficult to achieve, then you get equity in the big company, right? So you can either keep doing that in multiple conglomerates, whatever you want to call them, or you can keep doing that within that one M&A company and keep getting more and more value in exchange for delivering massive profits to them. So let's say an M&A company is focused on the food industry. So they buy interesting companies within production and selling of whatever food. I don't know anything about this specific industry, by the way, I'm just using it as an example. And one of the food companies is a production company, and they don't have stock management software that plugs into all the other companies, right? So let's say you build the stock management company that also connects to the suppliers, everyone in the chain, so that you don't need all the staff to manage the entire supply chain. And then you have a whole supply chain management software within the entire M&A food industry company. But once you have that, there's no reason why you wouldn't sell that tool to other food industry companies who also have a complicated supply chain. You use one company as the beachhead, then you use the M&A company as the island, the first island you conquer, and then you use all of that to conquer the quote-unquote industry, right? So what I do is help professionals get into freelancing and then build an agency and then scale from that into doing equity deals and building software companies. I don't know, like this M&A stuff is something we're dabbling in right now. So we're seeing results in it, but it's not like the focus right now. It's future stuff. I just like to know how people think when I do business with them. So I just stay mostly into B2B, mostly inside B2B, because I get people in B2B. When I talk to someone in B2B, there's a broadband level of communication. We get each other. I can usually provide value to them instantly, stuff like that. So that's why I'm staying in B2B. The problem in my field, right? In my field, the consumer side is opportunity seekers who want to make money on the internet, and I stay away. I don't want to have any participation and make money online offers. That's the problem with the consumer side.